And welcome to Inside Albania with me, Alice Taylor. Today I am joined in the studio by Andy. He is the moderator of Albania's largest Facebook group for tourists. We're going to be discussing what do tourists want from Albania? What are their preconceptions? What are businesses doing right and wrong when it comes to tourism? And what should the government be doing to help preserve Albania's international reputation? I'm also speaking to Alban, who's setting up an Albanian language school in London. We're going to talk about his plans, but also we're going to delve into the Albanian language. You know, is it at risk? What dangers does it face in terms of how it's changing? And why are the diaspora not using it as much as they should do? Andy, welcome to Inside Albania. Thank you for coming all the way from Saranda to join me today.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, you have a group on Facebook which has almost 500,000 members.
I actually have passed it because...
You have?
Oh. Yeah, only 100,000 are just visitors, except 470,000 that are members.
Wow.
So,
I mean, it's a huge number. I think it's the biggest.
It's the biggest and the most active on the Facebook platform.
Yeah.
So it's a Facebook group is kind of a community.
Yes.
It's not like Instagram or TikTok where you have a private account and you just post like, doesn't matter if you are a business or if you are just a normal account. In Facebook, it's like a community. All the members, they can post, they can share their thoughts.
It's interactive.
Yeah.
It's, I have a group on Facebook as well, and it has way less members than you, but it's hard work because people are not very nice to each other, and there are trolls, and people try and use it as a dating site. And it's really hard work, and I'm wondering how you manage with 500,000 people. As well, when we bring into the mix, there are tourists, people wanting to come to Albania, but also lots of Albanians as well. And Albanians like to argue. I'm sorry. It's quite a difficult mix. How do you manage it?
Okay, I always have like at least 3 people that I pay for this. And are always like, let's say if someone is for 6 months, or I have 2 that are fixed, but always I change one of them.
Yeah.
That comes always from abroad with new ideas, new things. So, yeah.
So how did you get the idea for this group, and how did it get so big?
Actually, the first group I created is like a group about apartments, about Saranda Xamil, and did pretty well, still doing good. And when I was sharing my content, you know, on other groups, they were not accepting me. So I was like, okay, I'll do something for all Albania. And at the beginning, I thought, okay, I can do something different from the biggest groups, you know, something like promoting Albania in the right way, giving tips, what they can do in Albania, the best places to visit, and being like as a source of information, not only about posting pictures and all of that.
It's, I mean, we get quite a lot of interesting questions in these groups on Facebook. I've done a series of reels about the silly questions I've been asked or seen in Facebook groups, you know, things like, do they have 4G in Albania? You know, are there buses? Do they have nail salons in Tirana? Like, and I just wonder sometimes, like, where do you think you're going? Like, do you not use Google? Like, it boggles my mind, some of these questions.
Yeah, it's funny. It happens very often. The thing is, like, people think like Albania is like country of the third world.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
We've got more nail salons, almost as many as coffee shops.
I mean, come on, Albanian girls, they like to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So.
We're not all working in the fields every day.
I would say more than in Spain.
Yeah. It's what interesting. Have you seen any really bizarre questions from the people in your group?
It is safe.
This
is the main question that people ask, if it is safe. And most of the people don't know that Albania is one of the safest countries in the world.
Yeah.
Like here, you can go out at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, and nothing is going to happen to you. Like you go in Europe,
you can't. No. There are places, you know, I go to Brussels a lot for work. There are places in Brussels I don't walk in the day by myself, let alone at night. You know, in Albania, there's nowhere really. Maybe there's one place where I would be a bit cautious in Durrës, near the underpass. You know, there are some issues there. Women have had some bad issues there because it's a red light sort of area. But there's no other place in the rest of Albania where I would be worried. I've never had anything bad happen. I saw a post today actually, and this woman was like, "I'm coming to Albania, but I'm pregnant. Will I be safe?" It's like, we're not going to harvest your unborn child.
I remember that was yesterday.
Yeah,
that
what do
was
you think is going to happen to you? You're fine. Like, and I made a reel recently as well. You know, your children are safe in Albania. The only thing that's going to happen to them is they're going to have their cheeks pinched and they're going to be kissed and, you know, Dota High Kamba, you know, this is the only thing. Albanians love kids. I think it's still struggling to shake off this reputation from some like Hollywood films that, you know, portray
I think
it
that
as...
guy Taken, he didn't do, let's say, a good thing. And
I need him on the show.
especially for the reputation. I agree that he doesn't think the same way, you know. I'm totally sure that he doesn't agree the same thing that he showed on the movie. But like, maybe most of the people, let's say, they are scared because of this.
Yeah. But I'm wondering as well, how long have you had the group?
Oh, now it's been like 3 years.
Yeah.
And the group is like, as it growed, you know, there were, except like information, there were many needs also like about services in tourism industry. And
Like what are the main requests?
I mean, tours, rental cars, accommodations, any kind of activities like parties. And talking about parties, I have Saranda Events, the company that is the main for parties, especially in the summer. And that we offer different services like pop crawl, pool party, and sunset boat parties. This is like,
there is a demand for this.
It's a huge demand. And except this, we have like different activities like rafting, ATVs, and also jeep safari. So in the same way, it's growing, both of them. But like, if you talk about businesses, we have like 3 times more this year compared to last year.
That's what I was
because
gonna
last
ask.
year I made it like, let's say, okay, you're taking a service, of course, you get a subscription. And it have been like super successful so far, and it's going great.
Has there been, so you've had a group for 3 years, have there been more people joining, for example, in the last 6 months than in the previous sort of year? Are you seeing more and more people joining more quickly as Albania is becoming more popular? Like, do you think this year is going to be more demand for Albania than last year, for example?
Yeah. Like this year already, like in the bookings and the reservations is like, it's expected to be at least 20% higher than last year.
Okay, interesting.
So, and a lot of tourists from France, Netherlands, Spain, Italians we know, but this year I guess they're going to be less. And a lot of Scandinavians. But in general, in Albania, you find people from all around the world. So,
and actually, I want to ask you, because I am moderating my group on Facebook as well, I've noticed a huge increase in the number of people from the Maghreb and North Africa and certain Arab countries that are really trying to come here. And I'm getting maybe 10 messages a day from people, you know, varying from proposing marriage, all in the name of documents, to asking directly, can you write me a letter for my visa? And we seem to, and I'm seeing it a lot in posts as well, you know, how do I get a visa? How can I come and work in Albania? And this tends to be from people from these areas, or the Philippines or India, Pakistan.
Maghreb countries.
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of them. They want to come here and work. Is this something you're seeing in your group as well?
I mean, I get, let's say, 50 messages every day, like from those. But like, it's normal, because most of those guys, they try to escape from their country for a better life. And some of them, they want to really stay in Albania, but most of them, they just use it as a bridge to go somewhere in Europe.
So they're either looking for a job here or a letter to get a visa.
Yeah, they cannot come like in direct way. And I hope like Albania gets less immigration, because immigration, it's good thing for people that are in need, they have a better life and all of that, but we
Yeah.
have seen like in other countries that it haven't brought something good.
Yeah, and it concerns me, like the number. If I'm getting 10 messages a day and you're getting 50, how many people are coming here with that intention of using it as a stepping stone? And it also worries me, if people are asking me to write them a letter, there has to be a market for this. I'm sure there are people who are going, yeah, I'll write you a letter, but give me 50 euros or 100 euros, and then there becomes this whole illegal
But
sort of
no,
network.
it's like thank God the government has like some strict rules about
Okay.
this, and there have been in the news like stories like they even arrested people when they
Okay,
try
good.
to do like things with immigrants, help them out, but of course in getting something back. And they have some strict rules, like about invitation letters and everything. You need to go through e-Albania. There
Oh,
are all
God, that will put people off straight
so,
away.
yeah, I like that. To be honest, I really
As
like
soon
that.
as someone says, we have to go into Albania, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do it.
Like the first answer is like, no, I can't help you.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's-
Okay, this is good because when people are desperate, then there's always room for exploitation. People can always exploit that desperation, and that worries me a bit. I want to ask you something else. 500,000 people in the group last summer. What sort of feedback were people giving about their trips to Albania? I saw a lot complaining about sunbeds, complaining about not having public beaches, about this taxi driver charged me 100 euros to go 20 minutes. And, what sorts of things were you seeing that were negative? And I'm asking this not because I want to criticize Albania, but I really think that people have to understand that tourism is not about getting rich today. You have to look at the long term,
yeah, that's the main thing. And actually, our prime minister, he mentioned that he's gonna change the politic
Yeah.
about the public beaches, and that's something very important. At least every city should have 2 or 3 public beaches.
yeah.
As in Saranda, that there are 2 public beaches.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know in other cities.
Yeah.
But in Vlore, it used to be. So at least every city should have 2 or 3 public beaches that people that can't afford, to go in those places to pay for sunbeds, they can have another option.
Yes. But also, it's not about affording. This is public land as well. We have the right to enjoy without paying.
I know, but this is unfortunately based on some politics that have been
Yes,
done before,
of course.
and hopefully they change.
But what
So,
other?
let's hope our prime minister he gonna make.
I hope they
what he
follow
said,
through on
you
it
know?
because there's certain areas of the coast I love to go to, and each year I see the public beach shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Last year it was literally like a corridor,
Come in Saranda, we got it.
But I'm wondering what else, from the last tourism season, the negative things that people said. What should we have learned from the experience last year?
I guess the main thing is like service have to improve. But also we shouldn't forget, like 10 years ago, nobody, or 15 years ago, nobody knew that Albania is like such a beautiful country
no,
with
no.
so many things to offer. And it came kind of fast, but have been done a good job. Can be done better.
So services, you mean literally like customer service in restaurants? It can be really hit and miss. I always say Albanian people are, the hospitality is great.
The hospitality. It's we have this from generations before.
Yeah.
It's something like you don't see anywhere else. Like people can help you even if they don't know, they don't want nothing in return. They can invite you for a coffee, or you go in a village. They will say, "Come for a lunch."
Yeah,
you
come
know?
to my house, and you leave
but,
the cake.
About service is not about hospitality. It's like people like they're still nice. The only thing is like sometimes they lack that experience, certain employees, or sometimes let's say it's overcrowded and they need more people, to just do it in the right way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to say where I was, but I ordered a coffee. 20 minutes passed and it was still, and then I saw it and it appeared and on the counter. I was sat down and I could see it on the counter.
Actually, it's funny because it's the
And
opposite. They come right away to take the order. They
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
it to you right away, but when it goes to paying, you know, you don't see
You'd
the
think
waiter
they'd be
anymore.
there, like no, but I was sat watching it and I could see this sort of steam coming off it, and the steam was getting less and less. And I was like,
that's
it's
why
cold now. It's a frappe, you know.
that's why the Italian someone they just run away.
So I went up, I got it myself, I served myself. My daughter wanted a cake, we ordered it. Again, the cake arrived on the counter, it stayed there. In the end, I just served myself in the end because it was, and there was no sort of, oh, I'm sorry, madam, or anything like that. It was like looking at me like, how dare she, you know? But well, I'm going to sit there and wait,
And
you know?
it's the way how we behave sometimes, let's say to European countries or I don't know, to Americans, Canadians, it looks like it's rude, but it's like we are like kind of serious to look
Poker
in
face.
the face, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Because usually we are like very, let's say, easygoing, all smiley with people that we know.
Gadal, you know.
Yeah, but when we don't know people, you know, we
Yeah.
are kind of okay. Let me
Yeah, yeah.
see.
A bit sort of, but there is that expectation, I think, okay, the Northern
the-
Europe, we're quite cold, but we still expect people to be like, hello, how are you?
yeah,
The
but
customer is always right. you know?
with us, it's like totally different. You know, we are very warm people. Like, but like just we need that little bit of,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
say, few moments or like 2 meetings, like to get open in a proper way. Because if we trust one person, we really trust them.
Yes. Now, I saw last year as well, lots of people were complaining about the prices in Albania. But then I also saw that I think a lot of people had unrealistic expectations. There was someone complaining, a hotel, it's 30 euros a night. I thought Albania was supposed to be cheap, or, you know, a beer was 3 euros, or blah, blah, blah. And, oh, this tour, I'm looking for a tour, a 2-day tour for 20 euros. You know, these really unrealistic expectations. And then, you know, a very low amount of money and people complaining, I thought Albania was supposed to be cheap, you know? And for me, I think there are people that are overcharging, you know, massively, especially in the south of Albania, you know, for some beds, these prices are too high, in my view, and tourists do get charged more. It's happened to me where I have been charged a higher price than my husband. But I also think there are some people coming here who are expecting a cheap holiday. They don't want to pay for the experience that they're getting. They have this expectation that it should be much lower price than it is. I think there's a balance to be struck there.
I would say there is the balance. The only thing is like people don't get the right information because let's say we take an example like Greece, you know, and you have Santorini or Mykonos that are yeah, that's our Xamil and Saranda. And people like when they go in Santorini or in Mykonos, they know that it's not that they're gonna count the euros or whatever kind of currency they have. You know, you are going for vacation, you don't think, you have fun. And here is the same thing. So why you don't go in Shenzhen? I would say.
Yeah,
it's affordable.
Whoa. What's wrong with Shenzhen? Actually,
Shenzhen is beautiful, but it's more affordable.
It's true. But although someone did try to charge me €9 for 2 pieces of burek there last summer, and then I turned around. It was like burek mimishi, and it was just like a tiny little bit of meat. And I was like, "Are you kidding?" I was like, "I might be foreign."
Don't tell me that you bought it.
Of course I didn't. I told them what I thought in Albanian, and they were quite, sorry, you know. No, I think there is something for every price point here. If you want to hitchhike, if you want to stay in a hostel or camp and eat, you know, in the summer I go to the beach and I spend 2,000 lek a day, food, a sunbed, blah, blah. If you know where you're going, you can do this, you know?
Yeah,
or you can spend 20,000 a day if you want to. If someone gave me 20,000, I'd have no problem in spending it in a day, you know, if I had to. But I think there is still an issue with people overcharging a bit. You know, when you look at problems with infrastructure, or maybe the service isn't what you expect, or it's this foreigners' prices thing, you know?
Oh, I wouldn't say so much, and I wouldn't even say that it never happened, you know, because it happens.
It does.
Sometimes. It doesn't happen very often. But passing where you said before, like about affordable places, there are like places like Divjak I don't know if you have been there.
Yeah, of course, it's
It's
beautiful.
very affordable.
It's really,
And like they have sandy beach.
yeah, beautiful sandy
And
beach.
as well salmon in Fier.
Yeah, it's stunning
so
there.
those are like very affordable. So
Of
you
course.
don't have you are
Shëngjin, Velopoja, Gjylalzit, to a certain
you
extent.
want to be in a budget, go to those places.
Yeah.
You want a very beautiful place, like with amazing experience, like on the top. Yeah, come to Sarandang Samil.
Yeah, but you have to pay for it.
Of course.
This is...
You everywhere we go, like in the best places that have each country. Of course, we pay more.
Now, I read an article in the British media this week, and this woman, she came to Samil and Saranda, and she really criticised it. It was in the Telegraph. And she said the beaches were overcrowded, it was expensive, there was rubbish.
When she came?
It was in the summer. It was in the Telegraph magazine. I think I sent you the link. But and she was saying Albania is at risk of over-tourism. You know, they're putting too many sunbeds on the beaches. The public beaches are shrinking. It's noisy. You've got all these beach bars. All the sound is competing with each other. And even I used to live in Malta, and there's an island there called Comino. It's uninhabited and it's like paradise. It's really famous. And they were bringing so many boatloads of tourists and cramming so many sunbeds on this little island that you couldn't move, and it completely destroyed it. And the reason people wanted to go there, because it's beautiful, it's paradise, that reason was taken away because it was just chaos of noise and people and rubbish and sunbeds and boats. Do you fear that there's a risk of over-exploiting what Albania has with tourism?
It's not yet there.
No, I know, but do we want to go there?
If we fix few things,
What things?
like maybe adding more stuff in each business, you know, to make sure like they can do the things right. And as we mentioned before about having more public beaches.
Yeah, this is important.
So better service, public beaches, and yeah, I think we're gonna be all right.
Better regulation around prices, receipts, paying with fiscal receipts.
The receipts, I would say most of the time is the fault of the customers. You go, you pay, you say, give me the receipt, please.
Yeah, but you know,
Because
I think,
all of them, they have the
I
receipt.
think some people, like it's happened to me before where I've been given receipt. They look like a receipt, but it's not a proper fiscal receipt, you know? And I think foreigners, especially on holiday, you might not know, or you don't know the law, you don't know the difference between fiscal and non-fiscal, or even you might not want to start a fight, you know?
Okay,
You're a bit
I
scared.
get that point, but all of us, when we go in a restaurant or in a bar, most of the time we check the menu. In the menu, it shows the price.
But what happens when it's wrong? Like you get overcharged at the end. Like this happens, you see it.
No. If there is the price in the menu, it doesn't
It should be. It should be.
It is.
But there are issues where it's happened where people have ended up being charged more, or they say they have as well. I think there is a bit of a wild west when it comes to pricing. You can end up getting stung. It's happened before where I've checked the bill and I've been like, okay, I didn't order that, or that's not quite. Oh, well, we've updated the menu since. Well, you have to update the actual menu, you know?
It doesn't happen very often, but
No.
it happens like in every country that there are in tourism.
Yeah.
Get the Turkey.
But we're talking about Albania.
Yeah, get the Turkey.
And
You know.
If Albania gets a bad reputation, like some countries do, that's it. It's done. We have to.
We are talking about like a few small issues, and we are not mentioning.
But these are the ones that make news. These are the ones that get attention.
You're right about
Yeah,
this.
this is a problem. Bad press goes further than, you know, that.
Then good one, you would say.
Yeah, that article that they put in the Telegraph saying that Albanian beaches are dirty and overcrowded, that would get more attention than one saying, oh, they're really pretty beaches and I had a lovely cocktail here. People don't care about that. They want to read the gossip, this sort of thing, which is unfortunate.
Things are getting better, and they will get even better in the
Yes,
future.
I agree with this.
Because for each thing that doesn't go right, you know, it's going to be fixed. Because nobody wants to don't have tourism. Everybody wants to come more people.
Of course.
And yeah.
But it's about, for me, it's, you know, don't think about getting rich today. Think about getting rich this season, next season, the season after, you know, it's this.
You know, most of the time, like you're right that you say like bad press makes more noise than good press, and thank God we don't have so many bad press, but mostly good press.
Yes.
So if you would see
For now.
in a Google, I'm sorry, there in the last months, the most researched place for vacation have been Samil.
Yeah.
So we are first in that ranking.
Yeah.
And the progress that we have been done, like all those years, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, come on, because yeah, it's, you can say like those are the bad things, but if you see the part of the good things, there are many of them.
I think
like it's an infinity.
People need to kind of accept as well, okay, gone are the days when a place like Samil and Saranda are virgin beaches with no, just a couple of tiny bars. It's not like that anymore. It's
there are.
Yes.
You should know where to go.
Now this is a commercial tourism destination, which is the most searched, one of the most searched in Europe. People want to go there. They want this luxury sort of experience,
But I'm sorry.
Things are changing.
I'm sorry. You know that it's not just by accident that we call Samil the Maldives.
No,
of Europe.
exactly. Of course.
It's standing.
What I'm saying is that there are people who criticize this and say, oh, it's been over commercialized, etc., etc. So that's what I'm saying. They have to accept that things are changing and that the new infrastructure is being created. It's been turned into this premier destination. Like you said, you don't go to Ksamil necessarily if you want a budget holiday. You want the best holiday. You go to Shenji.
You go in Albania Riviera, like you have Ksamil, Sarande, Vlore. Himara is very beautiful as well.
Dermi, there's Dermi, Borsh, Chepara.
So it's like Albania has it all. Mm-hmm. Like there is north. Come
and
on,
expectation.
North is so beautiful. Like,
it is, of course. But yeah, I think people need to stop thinking they can come here for a cheap holiday. It's not a cheap country. You get value for money.
It's an affordable.
Exactly.
It's an affordable destination where to have your vacation, and if we would compare it with any other country, like, we are still cheapest.
No, yeah, of course. Now, what advice would you give to someone coming on holiday to Albania this year? Top 3 tips, not to do with where to go or where to stay or what activities to do, but bearing in mind all the questions we see being asked. What are your top tips for someone coming here?
Top tips? Change your money always to lek.
Always select. Thank you. Oh, this is another question that makes me want to scratch my eyes out. Like,
yeah.
Can I pay with dollars? Look, can you pay with lek in New York? No, you can't.
Yeah, always say faleminderit. That is thank you.
Learn
a few words.
Yeah.
And the third one, just communicate with locals. You will find an hospitality like never before. Just don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
It's just like it's gonna become your favorite country and the favorite people. Because
I say to people, you are safer in Albania than you probably are on the street where you live. This is what I think. And lastly, a piece of advice to business owners for this ahead of this summer season. If you could get all of them in one room, all the Albanian tourism business owners, and give them one piece of advice for the season ahead, what would it be?
Get more stuff.
And train them.
Of course,
invest in your staff.
And of course, train them. Like most of them, like even pay people for all year round, even that they just work like 6 months. To just don't lose them, because it's always a problem, to find qualified people. And once you lose them, it's a problem to find again. Exactly. Because the best one, they keep it.
And you don't want to train them. You're not going to invest in training someone just for a few months, because then they're going to go to Germany or somewhere afterwards.
It's kind of funny because like Albania in the last years have been a great job about training like chefs in the kitchen, how to become a chef. But I'm not sure if there exists something about the waiters.
No.
That would be nice, like,
and there's a lot of young people, I think they don't want to do this job. And I just want to say, I was a waitress when I was a student, in school and stuff. And I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. Talking to people, being active, I liked it.
Smiling more.
Huh?
Smiling more, yeah. That's the only thing.
Yeah, customers, meeting people,
but
talking
in the same time, you have some of those like with a lot of experience that they're great.
Yeah,
like in Saranda or Ksamil, you have some waiters that, you leave them the tip like with a smile, because you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
they really
Yes.
deserve it.
Oh, and yes, people visiting Albania, please tip your serving staff as well, because I see this question a lot. Do we have to tip? Yes, you do. Tip 10% minimum. I think it's only fair. Andy, thank you very much, and
Thank
good
you.
luck with the year ahead.
Thank you.
Alban, welcome to Inside Albania. Thank you for joining me today all the way from London. It's an absolute pleasure. How long have you lived in the UK? We've swapped places, it seems. And what inspired you to start this school?
I've been here for over 25 years. And the inspiration comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a small son, 5-year-old, and it just seems so natural for me to be engaging in this sort of activity, given that I was a teacher before. And given that I feel all around me there's a great loss of our language to the second generation. And speaking with friends and colleagues and people that I know around, it became quite clear to me that the area didn't have a school, and I just had to act on it and do something about it rather than just expect for others to do it. I have to say there are other schools, but it will take you half a day to get to them. So again, convenience also is very important in this situation. So yeah, a number of reasons really, but it starts from within really,
Yes.
from my own family.
Yes, I mean, that's the best reason, I think, to start something, to do something. You know, it has real meaning when it's something that comes from within, from a passion like this. Could you explain a bit your idea, the concept of the school, how it will function?
So yeah, the school is named Juhayon. So you'll find all the details on our website, but basically the concept is that we will be working with the Montessori methodology.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be screen-free throughout the time of school.
Mm-hmm.
I am super aware personally on how much time children spend on the screen. At home, we try and limit it to very, very few minutes every day.
Mm-hmm.
But at school, they are exposed a lot to screen. So screen is a no-go. And we thought that getting up and doing activities and talking to each other forms a stronger human connection. And actually, the school will have an important role to play from that aspect. Mm-hmm. Perhaps equally as important, it's providing a community space for children of similar age, slightly younger, slightly older, to get together to have this other dimension to their life, which is part of their cultural heritage from their parents. Some of them, both parents, some of them, one of their parents. Mm-hmm. So I've heard some amazing stories of Albanian men and women also being in coupledom with people from around the world, and they too have expressed a desire to bring their children to school. And so yeah, it's a mixture of, but the main approach is screen-free, yes, hands-on, play. That's basically.
I'm screen-free at home. We watch very little television. My daughter is not allowed to use the mobile phone at all. She knows how to use one because sometimes I'll show her things and, I've taught her how to use it in case of emergency or things like that, but it's never a form of entertainment for her. And, I hear people say, my daughter's learnt English from watching YouTube or things like this. But then I hear as well that there are kids in my daughter's kindergarten which don't speak proper Albanian because their parents don't talk to them and they just watch YouTube all the time, and they speak English with this kind of affected American accent, which you can tell comes from social media. And I've read as well, about children in the UK starting first grade reception and not being able to speak properly because they've just been sort of handed a phone. I think this is a really important approach, especially when it comes to preserving language. We shouldn't expect a device to teach our children how to communicate.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I look at it on my own self, right? Mm-hmm. I am now in my mid-40s. I didn't have a mobile phone until I was in my mid-20s, right? And that time between then and now, I feel I am addicted to the mobile phone.
Yes.
And now just remove me from the situation and put me at the age of 2, 3, 4, 5 with a handheld device. I'll absolutely be addicted for the rest of my life, and
Yes.
I don't think I would be able to escape it. So I think it's a huge pandemic that is waiting to explode in our
Yes.
face, and we will see it coming, and we're just sleepwalking into that. And
Yeah.
if I can help it, at least from my own family, my own son, and in the school that I want to run, screens will not be available. It will be paper, it will be play, it will be all Montessori style, everything Montessori style,
Great.
but none of it. And actually, the ethos of the school is about being able to communicate with their family and friends back home. So enabling them and allowing them to have the opportunity to use language for that purpose, I think is the most important bit. So it's going to be pretty much functional language. To begin with, we're not going to focus on exams and things like that, but we're going to focus on functional language.
Yes.
For me, by the end of this lesson, the child must be able to do X. Very specific, must be able to greet, meet, say, specific language that is very functional to what they need when they go back, or when they speak to people who don't speak English but speak their own language. So that's the ethos of the school.
Now, I noticed last summer I met so many people from the diaspora, living my life in Albania with children. Maybe they were in Germany or America or the UK, and a lot of them were surprised to hear my daughter speaking Albanian, because she's bilingual, and they said, oh, my son doesn't speak Albanian, we don't speak Albanian to my daughter at home, or my husband tries to talk to her in Albanian, but it's easier in English. And I was surprised at how many people in the diaspora are not using their language with their children. And I'm wondering, why is this happening? What is causing this situation?
I mean, I don't really have the full answer, but from my own perspective, there's a couple of elements that appear. So, for example, I see the French, the Italian, the Spanish, the Chinese, the you name it, in my own vicinity where I live, and it's quite clear to me that they are much stronger in using their language. And then when I hear my own compatriots, and often myself, so I'm not going to exclude myself because I'm not in any way special, we tend to assimilate a bit too quick, and we tend to be a bit too strong to sort of adopt the adopted country and to wanting to please. And maybe this comes from centuries of, maybe there's a deeper issue here. But I think when I said I want to do this to colleagues of mine within this group that we belong, which is called Delirium Brains, there was enthusiasm across the place. And there was, very supportive language that they were so interested in supporting this. And quite a few of them actually practically helped me to do things. And so I think what I would like to say is that we as a community here have never been stronger. And we as a community here are at the point where the too much assimilation starts to become too obvious to us. And we need to start to realize that actually we are a strong community. We are quite a large community. Actually, it's over 100,000 people here.
Yes.
And I have to say, opening the school is not the first thing that it's not the first Albanian language school that's been opened here. There's quite a few around. So the community has been working on this quite hard for quite some time, and quite a lot of us are helping and trying to do the best we can. But we do live in an age where it's the now that's the most important. we live at an age where this little rectangle in our hands is designed to draw our attention, and speed is of the essence, and it can't wait for tomorrow. And there's a lot of things happening that are sort of bombarding us with and taking our attention away from. And so if I go back 10,000 years ago in our ancestors, how will they have survived, in terms of being able to use the energy they had? And the brain is the biggest consumption of energy. And if you're sort of diluting your attention to too many things, then you get eaten by a lion. So they have to focus. And in our day now, it's not easy to dilute our attention to both speak Albanian and speak English, or speak German and speak Albanian, or speak Italian and speak Albanian. So we go for the default, safest route, easiest way, path of least resistance sort of approach. And I don't blame people. People are super busy, but I think we are at a point in our history as a community, as a diaspora, where we're starting to realize that, this is happening, and we need to react now, and we need to do something about it now. And so this is really my input, alongside many of my colleagues here.
What's at stake here? Because, I mean, the Albanian diaspora is huge. There are more Albanians outside Albania than there are inside Albania. There is 100,000 people or so leaving every year, and you have one of the oldest and most original, unique languages in Europe, if not the world. And we see this language is changing. I notice words which appear to be English and have been changed slightly. And then people say, there's actually an Albanian word for that, and I hear people saying, shum cute, and I want to scratch my eyes out, How this language, I think, is maybe it's changing, it's evolving as language does, but if less people are speaking it, and they're assimilating into communities outside of Albania, this potentially endangers the future of the pure language, so to speak.
Yeah, so I definitely want to do something about it not dying out. I think there is a broader awakening by a lot of people in similar shoes to mine. There's definitely an impact, as I said earlier, on various media systems and the speed of now and the overpowering of the English language, mostly over others. Mostly it being the lingua franca, and now it being infiltrated in the technology that we use every day.
Yes.
Sort of has created its own current in a river of languages, and it's the predominant current in it. But I mean, if I just go back to I don't think I need to fear too much, because even if you look at the English language, the word human, which is the most basic word that you have to find in any language, actually comes from Latin, humano. So in its own form, the English language has not survived its pure system. So I think languages change, languages adopt, people adopt in using them. So while I think there's absolutely a lot of work that we need to do to make sure that we don't lose our language, I'm not at that point where I fear we are. If we do nothing about it, we will lose our language. I think that's the message I have.
One of the other arguments I'd heard was, or reasons was, but Albanian, why do they need to know Albanian? They need to know English and German. We live in Germany, or English and French, or just English, And my idea was, the Albanian language is very unique. It's a niche. If you know it, you never know when that's going to come in handy. But also, I think if you can master that language, you can master a lot of other languages much easier. How do you feel about that when people say, well, it's not really a useful language to know?
Well, I think I'll just change slightly the answer to this, because I think actually it's not just it's not about Albanian in itself, but Albanian in this case happens to be our subject, but it's about knowing languages. And I think knowing languages make every child a much better human being, a much more enriched human being than without it. So I think that's really important. So parents of my kind that have children that are Albanians and are in any of the diaspora environments wherever we live, I think the first they need to think is, how can I enrich my child's life? Can I make my child a much more enriched human being? And teaching them a language, and in this case, their Albanian language, is absolutely going to help in that direction. That's one. And I think we have, as a nation, as a culture, we've come a long, long way. And we owe it to our forefathers and foremothers and forebearers to carry on our language. The place around us, Europe, will be a much impoverished environment without the unique set of languages, and Albanian being one of the 7 Indo-European languages. It will absolutely make the place a poorer place for everybody. So I don't think that's an option. And I'm hoping that specifically here, and I wanted to say thank you to the embassies here. The Embassy of Kosovo, for example, has already sent me books. Has already promised to send me books to bring to the inauguration launch. So I'm very happy, and I'm waiting for the Albanian embassy to act as well. I've invited them. But I think there seems to be, and I think Rama also mentioned, the Prime Minister recently mentioned that there has been a movement in this direction. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, there is an awakening that's happening within ourselves, that we're realizing that something is at stake. Yeah.
I
think we won't let it happen.
No, good. I mean, I'm on the flip side of this. I live in Albania. My daughter is 5.5, and I was very insistent that she be raised in a bilingual way. So I speak in English to her at home, so her mother tongue, because if I speak in her to Albanian, she's going to learn all the bad habits that I've picked up. And she does her education in Albanian language, and she speaks to her other half of the family who are Albanian in Albanian only. And honestly, it's been easy. She was not delayed with speaking, quite the opposite. She very rarely got confused. Maybe, when she was about 3 or 4, there were a couple of words, sometimes she confused them, but it was never an issue. She never had a delay with her speaking or understanding. Now she is... I check in with the teachers quite regularly. I say, is she behind? Is she managing okay? Because obviously we don't speak Albanian at home because I'm English. And they're like, no, you wouldn't know that she doesn't speak English at home. She talks more than some of her peers. It's not been a difficult process to raise her as being bilingual. And I see in her communication skills. I test her sometimes, and I say sentences in English and I say translate it, and she does it like this, and it's amazing. And I know kids are good at picking up languages, but even she picks up words to like Italian songs and French songs so quickly in a way that I can't. I mean, I'm old, but she does it so quickly, and I believe what you say, that it's not about teaching which language you're teaching them as a second language as a child. It's the fact that you're exposing the brain to another language and all of the things that go on inside the brain when they're switching between 2 languages, which gives them a huge advantage in the future. I think this is really important.
Yeah, I think I've read quite a lot of literature, and I think synapses and neurons are multiplied and generated as a result of a second language. Essentially, physically, the brain changes. Wow. So it's an incredible, incredibly powerful motivator. And I've experienced it with my son, and my son is similar age, not turning yet 5. But originally, I thought, well, I need to teach him Albanian. So for the first 2 years, I spoke to him only in Albanian. And then one day we went to a birthday party, and he couldn't communicate with peers. And then I woke up to the idea that, hold on, he could actually suffer here, because he might suffer self-esteem, because if he speaks to peers and they don't react because they don't understand, then he'll be like, well, why are they not talking to me? So I kind of became aware of that. So I started speaking to him in English, and now we speak to him fully in both languages all the time. And the trigger for me has been, because actually I think teaching the children their parents' language starts from home. It's so important. Yeah. And sometimes I speak to my wife in Albanian, and he's like, what do you say, Daddy? I said, well, it's not food. Like, you need to understand it, Daddy. and you need to learn, Daddy. And
Yes.
it's like, okay, now I'm going to learn, Daddy. So it's a way of motivating the children to be part of this other community.
And
Which, yeah.
I was told as well, you know, because obviously I'm trying to learn Albanian and I'm putting in a lot of effort to try and speak it as much as possible. But I was told very firmly, don't speak to your child in the language which is not your mother tongue, because you will pass on any mistakes or bad habits that you, and I have many, you will pass them on to her. And I don't, but when she hears me speak Albanian and maybe I make a mistake, she picks me up on it now. And she says, no, mummy, you have to say it like this, or that's not correct. So I was quite cautious, even though I'm trying to learn the language, not to speak to her in Albanian, because she's going to learn it naturally at school. And I don't want to teach her, you know, the bad habits and terrible accent that I've picked up along the way through my learning.
My son has started correcting us at home. He started correcting us at home, and it's incredible. Sometimes he just says, "You don't say it like that, mommy or daddy or whoever happens."
No, my daughter's more brutal. She goes, "I don't understand what you're saying." I'm like, "All right, I'm trying," you know.
Yeah, they're incredible little things, aren't they? So resilient.
My last question. What has the response been? You know, you've announced that you are going to open this school, and have you had a lot of attention, a lot of people willing and wanting to get involved and to sign up? Are you positive about how this is going to go?
I'm very positive. I've had lots of people sort of congratulate and wanting to be part of it, and wanting to basically bring their children. And that's the best vote I can get, I think.
Yes.
So the biggest support to begin with was from the members of the Illyrian Brains. I am fully aware of other people who've done a lot of work prior to me here, and we lost her sadly, but we had a lady called Lulieta Nuzi who made huge strides, a trailblazer in this space, where I think she enabled the Albanian language to be part of the GCSE system in the UK, alongside other colleagues and friends and compatriots who live here. She passed recently, and it was a great loss to our community and to her family. And there's been other people and other colleagues around here who have opened their own schools, and they've been running these schools. They have 5-6 schools all around the place, all around the UK actually, and around London. Just happens for some reason the West London wasn't covered as much, which is where I am based. So I'm on the 7th of June. I'm launching. I've sent the invitations out. I'm inviting people out to basically come on the 7th of June to have the inauguration of the school. I've called it an open house. We're running it at a very well established education establishment here called the Arts Ed, which is a fantastic arts education school, college for secondary and tertiary sort of space. So that comes with all the beauty of I don't have to worry about all the health and safety, and everything else is covered in that sense.
Just focus on teaching the language.
Exactly. So I've already got a teacher. I think the biggest barrier might be that I don't have enough people to teach the language, but being a former teacher myself, I might have to step in here and there. But I do have a teacher already who has expressed an interest and who wants to play. I have another teacher who's ready to go. And so at the moment, I'm in process of just carrying out the admin tasks of getting the teachers interviewed and doing all that piece of work. And should be then sort of the first Saturday in September, I should be able to launch and I'm hoping that I'll have about 15 to 20 kids to begin with. And at this point in time, I feel that's a well-achieved target, because there's a lot of children around here. In my research, I found that there's about 500 families around where I live of Albanian heritage. So reaching them and finding them and telling them about the school will be the next part of the project. And I'm cherishing the entire process. Actually, it's been so amazing. The level of support that I've received from all of the community on LinkedIn and in other social spaces and social media has been absolutely amazing. So I think there's well, on my research, it shows that there's a lot of demand around the area, and parents want it. And it's an amazing location. I can't see why, a parent wouldn't want to bring their children to the school, and also, use that 2 hours for something for themselves, it gives them a respite from having to have childcare all day as well.
Alban, thank you very much. I wish you the best of luck. It's not about business, it's about something which I think is very important, which is preserving the roots, the culture, and a language which is very, very unique and not spoken by a huge amount of people. And I think it's really, really important to preserve this in Albania and outside of Albania as well. So I thank you for your contribution to doing that.
Oh, I'm grateful for your time. I'm grateful for inviting me to talk about Gjuhëjon here. And I look forward to, bringing all these projects into life, and having the kids of the Albanian parents coming here and wanting to learn at the school. So yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm totally buzzing.
Shumë faleminderit dhe suksese.
Faleminderit dhe juve. Shumë faleminderit edhe për mbështetjen tuaj në LinkedIn as well.
Mirupafshim, faleminderit.
Gjithë mirupafshim.
Pafshim. That's all for this week. You can watch Inside Albania every Saturday at 4 o'clock on Euronews Albania, on our YouTube channel, Euronews Albania, and across all major podcasting platforms. Until next time, Mirupafshim.